Hi, I'm Cassie.
And I'm Mariah.
And this is the Cassie and Mariah Show, a podcast where two long-distance internet friends, that's us, discuss navigating their 20s through disability and chronic illness. Mariah, how's it going?
I feel like I've had a bit of a busy week. I mean, I feel like this month has been a bit of like a heavier month for me in that sense. Like, I think it's just been a harder month, like unexpectedly. But this week, I actually quit my job, which I really wasn't expecting for, like, the end of the year, you know? I really wasn't expecting it to be something that kind of, like, was going to happen now. But I kind of realized that there's certain things in life, and particularly my life, because this is the life that I'm currently in, that I have to force myself to do things that make me feel uncomfortable in order to grow. Because I'm so easygoing with like, oh yeah, I'll just like hang out here and be in this one spot, even though I'm not happy, because I fear the change that it will bring. But then doing that like hurts myself. It wastes time essentially. And that like, it's not helping me stay true to like how I feel in myself. And sometimes, you know, it's so much easier to just like tolerate something, because you're afraid of confronting it. Like, it just feels like that's such a hard thing to do, which it is, but it's also something that like, it's important to do because we're going to go through a lot of, you're going to have a lot of time in life where this, you're like, oh my God, this shit sucks. But like, you literally have to do it to just get from point A to point B. So I feel like that was my like main thing this week that I had to really like come to terms with and also like think through and process, and just like feel my way through it, you know?
Well, I'm proud of you for, you know, doing that. I mean, like you said, it is hard, and growth and change are hard and uncomfortable. And I think something that, yeah, I've been telling myself over the last several years is like, you know, discomfort equals growth. Although sometimes, I mean, you were uncomfortable in terms of being unhappy at your job, and obviously quitting your job is also an uncomfortable thing.
Right.
But it's like different types of growth, like, you know, positive or negative in terms of like, you don't want to have to keep being more resilient to being unhappy. You want to grow in a way towards being in a better place. So I'm glad that you were able to do that for yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that because I think that sometimes like I find it hard to like sit with like I find it hard to like make those decisions in myself internally, which is something we'll discuss later. But I do think that sometimes like I need to make sure I'm also giving myself like the validation that I'm looking for from other people. And like I think another thing, like going like thinking about this and like acting on this like currently is like trading like that short-term discomfort or trading the long-term dysfunction for short-term discomfort. Like I would rather feel like this right now than feel like the other feeling I had for longer. Like, you know, because I know in a month from now, I'm going to feel better and that, like, it's just a blip in the timeline. But, like, for the past, like, handful of months, I'm like, oh my God, this is, like, I'm so unhappy, but I don't want to confront this, so I'm going to continue to be unhappy for the sake of, like, making it easier for, like, somebody else.
Yeah.
So what's been going on for you this week?
Well, while you quit a job, I got a job. I don't remember. I think I maybe mentioned last episode that I was interviewing for jobs in the legislature for the 2024 short session. And yeah, I got a full-time legislative assistant position. Very excited. I'll be starting sometime in January and it'll go through March, which honestly the timing could not be better because then I can still do in-person classes in the spring and like, you know, like it'll time out perfectly because I'm pretty sure the job will end like during spring break. So right before spring term starts. So it's perfect and I'm very excited. I will say that in general, the interview and like job search process is so not fun. And I've been processing a lot in therapy, and actually, like, similar feelings to what you're experiencing with quitting a job, I feel like I've been experiencing with finding a job and getting a job, is of that, like, external validation issues. And also just, like, realizing, like, I have, like, I mean, like, I've heard people talk about, like, rejection sensitivity issues with, like, ADHD and stuff, but, like, I don't know, I feel like I haven't, like, necessarily seen or understood it fully in my life, and I feel like now I'm starting to unpack some of that more in therapy, which is hard and frustrating because it's like, you know, I got the job offer and then I'm just like, it just instant, like, imposter syndrome, and just, like, being like, wait, but are you me? Are you sure? I mean, obviously I didn't say that, but I'm just like, okay, this is interesting. Brains are interesting. So, no, but I am really excited. And, I will say too, like, you know, so much of my experience with, like, work experience and, like, volunteer experience and stuff has all been, like, hybrid, remote, like, all of that. Like, you know, I've only worked, like, 2 things I've actually been hired for. You know, my part-time job last year and then my internship this year. And so I've never done an in-person interview for a job before. And so the second round interview for this job was in person, and it was, like, at a coffee shop. And so I needed to ask about accessibility, which like, on a personal level, I found very difficult, only because, again, not having a lot of experience with interviewing for jobs, I'm not used to having to ask about accessibility in this context. And when you're, you know, it's like I overthink every step of the job search, in that I'm like, oh, well, like, with every email I send, with everything I say, with everything I do, like, it's all part of the, like, approving myself process. And so, like, asking for somebody else to do something, like, was hard in that way, because I'm like, oh, maybe I should be figuring it out myself and proving that I'm capable of handling this myself. And it's like, I had to kind of, like, take a step back and be like, no, like, this, like, the interview process goes 2 ways, and, like, my employer needs to be able to handle accessibility requests if they're gonna hire a disabled person. And I was so grateful for how they handled it, and they were so responsive, and, like, went and, like, scoped out the place that we were originally gonna go, and they were like, you know what, actually this is not ideal. Went and scoped out another place, and because they weren't 100% sure, they even sent me, like, pictures of different parts of it to make sure that I was good with it. And so that was just, like, really reassuring. And then even during the interview, like, towards the end, they were just like, you know, anything you need, like, we've already talked to, like, the office that, like, supports legislators, and you know, they're like, yeah, we're totally prepared to, like, help make your office, like, fully accessible and everything. And so it's just, like, I just felt very supportive. And I think it's, like, especially for, like, my first full-time job and my first in-person job and stuff like that, I feel like it's so important to have, like, people, because I don't know what to ask for or what to expect, or what, like, I kind of, in a way, don't even really know what my rights are. And so it's, like, to have, like, a really, honestly, like, labor-focused legislator who, like, really cares about these things, and just, like, good people who I'll be working with who, like, care about making sure that my needs are met, and that I'm able to do my job without worrying about that stuff, is so important to me, and is something that, like, you know, even though it's only a couple month long job, like, I think is something that's gonna positively impact me for years to come. So very grateful for that experience.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it even helps you, like, just prepare yourself for future work and, like, future jobs, and what to expect and what to discuss at future jobs. And, you know, and even honestly, to just, like, feel appreciated now. You're like, okay, like I know that it's not going to be as hard as I thought it was going to be, because you're working for the right people.
And, like, not having to explain, like, what all accessibility includes. Right. Oh my God, that rocks so much. I'm so used to having to explain to people, and so it's just like, I'm like, oh no, like, I'm sure there'll still be things that come up, like, I don't know, in every space, in every role I'm in, there's always stuff I'm teaching other people, but it's like, to already have, like, a very solid, like, base understanding, I'm like, okay, like, this is good.
I'm happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. And then, you know, we, us besties got them matching SSRIs this week. I think it's hilarious that me and all the besties are on generic Lexapro.
Was it Esco Xylapin?
If you think I have a fucking clue.
I know. It's the generic version. You know, I think it's so funny. Like, I think that's also just, like, a big thing that's, like, such a self-service for myself, is to be able to have that conversation about, like, hey, like, I need something else to help me get through, like, my life. You know, which I'm sure you feel the same way. Is like, we want to be like, nah, we're not depressed. We're fine. Like, what do you mean? I'm smiling right now. I don't have depression. But, like, when you're by yourself is when you notice it the most.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Being alone, and you're like, and, like, we've discussed this. We have no problem being by ourselves and being alone. It's just, like, the thoughts that, like, slowly slither in, you're like, oh, that's why it's hard to be alone. Like, that's why I'm constantly fueling my empty thoughts with, like, a YouTube video or, like, a podcast to listen to, or, like, playing Lego Fortnite. Like, I'm gonna fill my time with this stuff and be like, what do you mean I love being alone? I love having this time. It's like, no, you just love being distracted.
Yep. I was gonna say, I did used to love spending time alone, when I could enjoy that time, but instead, yeah, now it's all just distractions. But yeah, I'm, like, almost a week into I'm doing 5 milligrams and then going up to 10. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm almost a week into the 5, and so far it's okay. I'm very fatigued. But I will say, like, I did feel some, like, pretty instant relief, which I was pretty surprised by, because they say, you know, it's gonna take, like, a month before you really start to notice a big difference. But, like, I guess, like, just to me, it feels like it instantly got rid of, like, kind of a sense of dread that I was living with on a daily basis. So, and I don't know if that's just from finally, like, getting the help I need, or if literally my brain was so chemically imbalanced that the first lick it got of some chemicals it needed or whatever, it was like, thank you, I'll lap that up. I don't know, but I will say that, like, even just a few times in the past week, like, I've experienced more joy than I have in a minute. So that's nice.
That's amazing for you. I am waited by bated breath, because I want this so bad. Like, I really, like, you know, once you said, like, oh, like, that feeling of dread, I was like, oh, I was like, when might me next? Like, because, like, yeah, like, I mean, I literally just took my first dose today. I picked it up from the drugstore. It was like $1.14. I was like, oh my God, slay. Like,
dollar store.
Dollar store Lexapro. So I just, like, felt so, like, I was like, oh man, like, I don't know. It just is a huge self-care step to get on something that really, you know, is gonna help you feel better and, like, give you the chemicals that you need. And I know that, like, medication is not, like, one size fits all. Like, we know this, as somebody who also, like, I'm stopping my Adderall because, like, it's not working for me. Like, and it's also just, like, because of, like, the cardio problems I've already had, like, with my heart, like, I shouldn't be on a stimulant. So my next appointment with my doctor, we're going to discuss, like, a non-stimulant ADHD medication. But honestly, like, I do think that, like, I am a very anxiety-driven person. I think that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if starting Lexapro, like, helps my ADHD, because it's more of the anxious thoughts that make me feel distracted and make me feel like, you know, that overwhelming feeling. So, you know, I guess, you know, time will tell. I'm only doing 5 milligrams. I don't think I'd have to look over my, like, appointment summary sheet, but I don't think I'm supposed to increase the dosage. I think it's just 5 milligrams for right now, which I know is like a trial dose, essentially. That's what everybody, like, you start with that, you go higher, you know, but you don't go lower. Because I think that I also just, like, I don't know, I just need something that, like, helps calm me down, but, like, calm the anxiety down. Because, like, I'm also starting to kind of help myself realize, like, what are the real rational thoughts that I have, and what are the anxious thoughts that I have.
Oh, my
like,
God, yeah.
It's so crazy because, like, it's so, and it's honestly, like, so validating to be like, this is what I feel in this situation, and this is what my brain was telling me to feel. Like, I compared it to, like, having a dog that lives in your head that's, like, barking at you and telling the dog to sit. Like, you have to train that dog. I got that dog in me, and her name's anxiety. Like, she needs to sit. When I'm having these conversations, like, about things that, like, it's like, you know, like, when somebody tells me something and I'm like, oh, like, yes, like, yes. But I'm like, inside me, I'm like, no, like, I want to be upset right now because of what they said. I want to be upset because of this. And it's like, I can't be upset because there's nothing to be upset about.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't be upset.
Me, when I read a 2-sentence email that had no exclamation points today, I said, are you mad?
Like, it's so, I mean, I'm the person that, like, I expect the worst out of every situation. Like, when I was quitting my job, I thought the conversation that I was going to have was going to be a lot harder than it was. And you know who ended up crying? Me. Why did I cry? I don't know. I wanted this. Like, I can't believe that. Like, you know, and it's like, sometimes, obviously, it's like, it's so hard to control, right? When you're about to cry, you got to just do it. You got to let it out. Otherwise, like, I'm going to burst like a dam. Like, it's going to be unhealthy. And, like, even with, like, the overthinking and stuff like that, like, I think that is obviously part of the anxious, depressive, irrational thoughts. But, like, being able to almost, like, reel that in. Like, it's like, you know, you have a hose and the hose is all over your backyard and you got to, like, reel the hose in. And you're like, okay, like, once it's rolled in and all neat and tight, you can now, like, have your thoughts and have them, like, set out of, like, this is, you know, how this conversation made me feel. This is, like, my response to that. And then this is, like, that dog inside me that wants to get upset over, like, this information that I've learned. And it's like, I can't get upset because that's not my actual feelings about this situation. Yeah. That's, like, how my anxiety is telling me I should feel.
Oh, my God.
Bro, I'm having revelations over here like I'm the Bible. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, my God. Just in time for Christmas and everything.
The birth of Christ, you know, the birth of Mariah, bitch.
Damn right. Oh, my God. Wow. The dog... I'm never gonna think... I got that dog in me is never going to be the same to me anymore because I'm going to be picturing, just so you know, now when I look at you, I'm seeing a German Shepherd sitting in your brain. Sitting.
My childhood dog was a German Shepherd. He's in the room. He was visiting for Christmas. Oh my God.
Oh my God, sorry.
It's fun. That's actually funny because that's the second time somebody has mentioned a German. Like my neighbor today, when I was outside talking to him, he was like, "Oh, my favorite dog was your dog Junior. Like my childhood dog, that was a German Shepherd." Why? Why is he
dog in you?
It's my childhood dog that used to bring possums to the back door. He's here.
Oh my God.
Also, I'm rabbit sitting this week. I'm watching my friend's mom's pet rabbit, and she's delightful, and it makes me want a bunny really bad.
I was going to say, the pictures have been so good. I love when you pet sit other people's pets.
Right? And we could be like, look at this guy. Like, he's a little crazy, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't like that one that looks like a person. The dog that looks like a person.
I watch a couple dogs that look like people.
I don't like those. I'm sorry. I can't unsee it because... And ever since you said, yeah, if you listen real close at night, you can hear them taking off their dog suit or whatever. I was
you hear the zipper.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, no, I can't. I can't be around that. I know we're across the country, but it still feels a little close. The last thing from this past week is that all right, flashback. Okay, 2017, I was flown out to the Alternative Press Music Awards to accept the grant that I was given to start Half Access. And while I was backstage eating free mac and cheese from the mac and cheese truck, after being nervous and not eating all day, really, because I was like done on stage at this point, so I was like, oh my god, relief, feed me, please. And somebody came up and congratulated me, and I need you to picture this. I have my APMA's trophy under one arm, I have a bowl of mac and cheese in my other hand, and I'm shoveling it into my mouth. And yes, this middle-aged man approaches and says, congratulations, and shakes my hand. Does not introduce himself. I don't know who he is. There's a lot of white men around. Who knows? And then, after I'm done eating and I go back inside, he's soon on stage, and his name is Andrew McMahon. And I am ignorant. Anyway, last week I won a radio contest to see and meet him at a radio show thing, and so I really got to complete my Andrew McMahon redemption arc and be like, hey, we actually met backstage at the 2017 APMAs when you congratulated me. I didn't know who you were then, but I've been enjoying your music ever since, and it was very nice, and he remembered, and my friend Annie, she moved to LA, but she was back in town this weekend. She literally flew in that morning, was able to get to the thing to be my +1, and she had sold him merch at the Eras tour because she was working merch in LA, and she had told him oh, you didn't have to wait in that 3-hour long line. And he goes, yeah, I've been telling that story to everyone, about how I didn't have to wait. But it's yeah. So I have finally completed my Andrew McMahon redemption arc. I can finally sleep at night. I no longer have to cringe about not knowing who he was. And that really delights me.
Wow. I'm so glad that he remembered you.
Oh, me too, because I don't know. That would have made it way worse. If you like the show, be sure to follow and rate it on whatever platform you're streaming on to help us reach more people. And remember to send in questions, your own stories of disabled joy or hardship, etc. to tcmspod@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram @tcmspod, and we'll use them for an episode later this season.
So this week's topic, we are discussing New Year's Eve, the concept of the new year, new me, because I know it's cringe, but I like to think that starting the new year on with some new intentions and stuff for that year is a really cool and really fun and healthy thing to do.
Oh yeah.
So Cassie, what do you usually do on or around New Year's?
I mean, I am a big New Year's girly. I think New Year's is one of my favorite holidays. I would say I don't embody the whole new year, new me thing, but I do I live for that chapter of flipping the page. I need that. Oh my god, if we didn't have that, if we didn't have the whole literally new year, I need that fresh start so bad. I usually never have plans on New Year's. I am pretty much always spending it alone. I can't remember if I've ever spent it with other people, really. I just get so introspective and reflective, and I don't remember what year I started it, but I have a tradition of I write a letter to myself to read on the next New Year's Eve, and I think I also write a letter. I can't remember. I think I might also write a letter back to my, what I would tell myself at the beginning of the year. I can't remember, though. Dear past me and dear future me kind of thing. I just find that to be, very healing. I never remember what I write, so that's fun. But, it's literally a year. I don't touch them. I just shove them in a drawer,
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting. And then I do love goal setting or like sometimes priority setting and like things like that. And I also have gotten in the habit, Courtney got me into making like vision boards, like they're all like digital, like we'll make like a collage, just in Canva or whatever, like we'll go on Pinterest and make like a, 2023 vision board, and then it makes for like a fun, like, wallpaper on your phone, to like make,
honestly,
like
I love that idea. I'm writing that down in my planner to do next week.
and I don't remember what it was. She sent me like a thing, like a Instagram reel, or maybe it was an ad, honestly, I don't remember, but I saved it on Instagram. I'll have to go pull it back up, but there's like a way to make it even, like, to make the collage and like vision board even easier and cooler, so I want to try that this year. I don't know, I just think it's so fun. I'm like, I just love the ritual of it, even though, like, honestly, like, half the time, like, other than the goals, like, I usually, like, the, like, letters to self or stuff, it's, like, you can't predict the future, you have no idea what's gonna happen in the year, like, and, like, and just, like, most of that, like, usually, for the most part, after a few days into the new year, you're just, like, whatever, it's just another day, but, like, but I don't know. I just still love the ritual, even if it all exits my brain a few days later.
Yeah, no, I mean, I, like, last year, and this year I, like, plan to do it as well, is, like, I do, like, a year ahead, like, tarot reading for myself. Like, I'll do, like, a five card reading, and, it's kind of, like, what should I, like, expect this year? Like, even, like, I had, actually, last year, one of my friends did, like, a year ahead tarot reading that was, like, a card for each month, and then a card for the overall year, and, like, some of it resonated, some of it was a very, like, there's a lot of times where, like, certain cards, like, really showed themselves, where I was like, oh my god, like, that's amazing that this actually, like, aligned, and then there's sometimes where it doesn't, where, like, that's how it is with, like, doing tarot readings and stuff like that. Sometimes it aligns and sometimes it doesn't. But I am looking forward to that this year. I honestly just kind of, like, look for a spread online that's, like, I follow a couple of tarot readers on Instagram that post, like, their year readings to do on New Year's Eve. So I usually do that. And last year I actually remember, last year I went to go visit my friend in Connecticut, and I... what do you have in your hand?
Okay, we said we're anxious girlies. I have a slight sniffle, so I'm taking a COVID test live on the air.
Okay. Oh my god.
Listen, I cannot, I've never relaxed a day in my life.
Well, we will know in 15 minutes.
As soon as I stick up my nose, we will be closer to an answer.
But yeah, like, I plan on doing, I do like to write out, like, a more recent, like, New Year's, tradition for me is to just, like, write a journal entry about, like, a summary of the year, how certain things made me feel, like, any big, like, transitional events, did I go through, how did they make me feel, like, what people, honestly, and I think about, like, the growing pains that I experienced, and, like, who or what I left behind, and, like, what feelings I want to bring into this new year, and, like, kind of, like, start myself off on, like, a clean slate, I guess, in terms of, like, with, like, the relationship that I have with myself, and that's kind of honestly why I think even, like, when it came to, like, quitting my job, I felt like I really wanted to just get that done, like, this year, like, that very symbolic, like, starting the year on January 1st, having, like, nothing in my life that gives me any negative feelings or any stress that is unwanted. So I was like, yeah, like, that's kind of, like, and I really want to do a vision board this year. I think that the digital one that you said is a great idea, because whenever I picture a vision board, it's to do, like, a physical one, and I don't really want something that I'm going to have to keep in my room and move and shit like that. No, like, I'd rather just, like, have something that's on my phone. So this way, like you said, you make it a wallpaper and you get to look at it every day. I mean, I think this year, though, I have a lot more, like, intentional goals than I did starting, like, for next year than starting this year. Like, I don't know. I don't think I set too many goals other than focus on, like, healing and, like, taking care of myself in 2023.
Yeah, I think I'm almost the opposite in that like I think that I'm gonna have fewer goals going into next year. I think in a healthy way, my expectations for life are lower. Here's the thing. As somebody who loves to I am such a generalist. I love learning I want to learn how to do everything. I want to do everything I'm interested in. I'm interested in so many things and I want to pursue all of them. But I think I've gotten more realistic and I don't know. So like, okay, I'm just going to read off what my 2023 goals were. I think I achieved all of them except for I had put that I wanted to start learning to sew, which is something I would love to do in my lifetime just because I think it'd be cool to be able to like as a person with dwarfism, it's like I like being able to hem my own clothes would be very nice. Because as something we'll talk about later this season is like the idea of a crib tax. It's like I did just drop off a bunch of tailoring stuff and it's like, you know, it was $12 per article of clothing to get them shortened. Well, I didn't choose I didn't choose this life. I didn't choose to have short pants, but yeah, I was like, honestly, I'd rather pay somebody else to just hem these and get it done than like clearly I'm not going to learn to sew anytime soon, and that's fine. But otherwise, I had a goal to read 40 books. I did later, midway through the year, lower that to like 35 or something because I got worried that reading was going to stop being fun. But I think I've already read like 45, so I surpassed my original goal anyway. I had a goal to finish my transportation cardigan, which I did in like February. Crochet a non-cardigan item, which was your both of your presents, really, your wall hanging and your blanket. Start the podcast with Mariah. Oh my god, we did that. I was looking it up. We bought our microphones like December of last year.
Yeah. I remember buying it like right before the new year.
Oh my god, look at us. Now we're on season 2, baby.
Slay.
I wanted to play Sims 4 so bad that I wrote down figure out Sims 4 technology, which I had to get a new laptop to be able to do one of my classes, like homeworks at home anyway, because my like Microsoft Surface doesn't have enough powerful processor, so now I can play games on there too if I want. So love that for me. Make 1 to 2 school pals. I feel like I did that. I unfortunately have not gotten to be in person at school as much as I planned to be with everything that happened with my mom's health stuff this year, but that was a thing. And then I had kind of written, stuff about like, prioritizing like mental health and self-care stuff, but then I kind of realized that it was more like an intention or a routine or something instead of like it didn't really fit into the category of being a goal. But honestly, what's more interesting to me than the goals I had was I had tried to do like a priorities thing, which I think was me starting to think about shifting away from goals and thinking more holistically about how I'm living my life. And it's very interesting because I'm at a place now where my priorities are so different than when I started the year. When I started the year, I was prioritizing caring for myself and caregiving. Like, that was my number one thing. Then school, then organizing, then, like, social, creative, fun. I would say now, I don't honestly know how these would actually stack up in a list now, but I'm prioritizing fun over, like, everything. But, like, in a way that's balanced with school and, you know, soon to be balanced with work and, like, stuff like that. But it's just so interesting because I'm like, I mean, I obviously burnt myself out this year caregiving, which is just a very different place than I was when I started the year, when I was like, that was my role. That was a big part of my identity. I mean, it still is, but like, I'm like, oh no, this is like not sustainable for me. This is not something I'm choosing. It's just, yeah, am in a very different place with my priorities now. But that's because of my experience. I could have never predicted how I would feel, what I would go through this year, and that's okay.
True.
You know, that's why I say, like, you know, half this shit, I just love the ritual, and it turns out completely, you know, different anyway, and that's fine.
Yeah, because, like, I mean, like you said, I think that a lot of the stuff that you can, you know, I think that obviously putting your needs above all else is very important, and it's kind of like you have to let yourself, like, feel selfish, honestly, because, like, you burnt yourself out, like, very early with a lot of different things. Like, halfway through the summer, you know, you were feeling it. Like, I know you're doing a lot of, like great things, but you're also just like, oh my God, like, I'm... like, it's like you started this year like saying like, yeah, like, you're like, these are your needs, and like the thing that actually helps you like relax and have fun was like literally the last thing on your list, and now you're on Lexapro. Like, you know, like, you can't.
But you know, like, what,
obviously,
but you know what, I don't have COVID, so we've got that going for us right now.
Has it been 15 minutes, or it's just not showing up?
Like, it, you know, the line is there for the, like, the control line. To me, I'm like, most people be lighting up, you know.
Right.
But yeah, no, you're so right. Like, I don't know. It really goes to show that, like, you can't put fun on a priority list and put it at the bottom. Oh my God.
No, yeah, I mean, because obviously that's, like, you don't want to, like, save, you don't want to be like, oh, in that extra time I'll have fun. Like, you want to be able to have, like, fun while you're doing everything else you're supposed to be doing anyway.
Exactly. And I have, like, honestly, like, really deprioritized this year doing, like, organizing stuff. I mean, I did still, like, get to be involved in quite a few different things that were really important and stuff, but, like, in general, like, right now I'm not holding any formal roles in any organizations or anything like that. Like, I've just, like, really stepped back. I've quit all the committees I was on. Like, I just really had to prioritize taking care of myself, and that means, to me right now, that means literally in any free time I have, it is doing things that I enjoy and that are not, like, the weight of the world. And sometimes what I enjoy is, like, organizing, and sometimes, like, I do have the energy for that, and that is what I want to do. But a lot of times it's literally just sitting in the library with my friends or getting froyo or playing air hockey or whatever, and that's okay.
Yeah, like, filling your cup with the meaningful, like, experiences that you need to be having that a normal 20-year-old is having. Although
I will say, yeah, my therapist and I use the filling your cup metaphor a lot, and I think my cup started the year just being kind of empty, but it was a normal cup, and I think throughout this year my cup got thrown on the ground, stepped on, taped back together, and so now it's taped back together, but it's got it's like a strainer. It's got holes in the bottom. So you're pouring into it and it's all just coming out. So I am looking for the Lexapro to plug those holes. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, hopefully it does that job. It's like those videos. Oh man, it's like that ad that's the TV ads, the Flex Seal, where there's a hole on the side of the glass and he smacks that tape on.
It on there. Lexapro hold it. Yeah, I mean, yes.
Lexapro is the glue that holds it together. Like,
damn right. Oh my God,
we are not sponsored.
Not spawned, but put us in your commercials.
Oh my God, we'd be great. Be like, oh my God, look how fun we're having. We're having a podcast. Like, you taking them a podcast.
What would you say, like, you know, looking back on this year, like, what are your 2023 takeaways? Also, for frame of reference, if you're like, what year are they talking about? Because we're talking this year, last year, or next year. The year right now, we are in December 2023 when we're recording this.
Facts. You're not listening to this until January, probably towards the end. But yes, we are in 2023 currently. So, yeah, this year, which, like, I don't even have this on my list, but fucking wild to me that I went to Disney twice this year. Girl,
oh my God, true.
What did I do? Like, what? That's a lot. Going to Disney once is a lot. And, well, like, the overall takeaway, I did not expect myself to become a Disney adult in 2023. crazy. I'm more of a Muppet adult, which Muppet adults are like the feral versions of Disney adults. Like Disney adults are feral, but like not like the quirky, like, oh my God, I love Mickey feral. It's like the, oh my God, like Kermit the Frog. You're like, okay. like Muppet adults are like the those that like are in the shadows. That like hide out. So this year, my overall takeaway is like I started a couple new projects within my business, and I kind of noticed what did and didn't work out with what I was doing. Mostly being like I started making these really fun bracelets that I like love making, that I will just make in my spare time, even if I don't have any events going on. I still like to make them because I genuinely love that like creativity. I love that like that it takes me honestly like an hour to put one together, because I like to intentionally plan out like the design, the style, like how this like the intention behind it, which like I think that's like what I've been missing in my business, is like working on something that doesn't feel like I'm like mass producing something. It's just like intentionally making something that I know somebody will wear and somebody loves. Because there's something that I've got like the most feedback on this year for being a relatively new product and only being out for a couple months at this point. That a lot of people are like, wow, I love this bracelet. And yes. I feel like, you know, people have told me obviously that they like a lot of the stuff that I make, but like it's the different reaction of being like going out of your way to tell me how much you like it versus like picking this up and being like, oh, this is pretty, I'm going to buy this. It's like, no, you wear it for a few days and you're like, wow, I still really like how this bracelet makes me feel. So I'm glad that I started that this year. And I'm glad that like I keep working on new things that bring me joy to make. And also stopping making things that I'm like, oh my God, this is like a chore to make. Like, I don't want stuff like that, because like this is my business and I can do what I want.
Facts.
Like another thing that I was doing this year is like doing a lot of like vendor events that like, I mean, you know, you can never predict how an event will go, necessarily. But I do think that I was like, there's a lot of events that I was wasting my time. And I do think going into it, I had the mentality of that anyway, just due to like statistically thinking of like this time of year isn't a great time that people spend money, or like this market is like not in a good location. So you're not going to have like foot traffic coming to it and things like that. So I do think that something this year I'd like to, well, I mean, we'll get into the hopes and dreams and goals of 2024, but I do want this year to, you know, I do want to actually like kind of really like reflect and be like, yes, I shouldn't do markets. Like I did markets in the fall and I was like, oh my God, these suck. They make me miserable because I'm not making money and I'm not having these like experiences that I want to. So I know like for next year, don't do markets then. Save that time for rest. Save that time to do like even website updates, and save that time for yourself. So then this way, when the holidays come around, you can like hit the ground running then.
We love a business queen slay.
I also want to like, you know, this year also had me start thinking about what I wanted to do with my career, like, you know, in terms of like planning on going back to school, literally like what the fuck I wanted to do with my life, because like I can't just like whatever I'm doing right now isn't working. It's not gonna give me like a fulfilling life and a fulfilling career, because like obviously as much as I love doing my business, I have to be realistic and know that this isn't gonna be forever, because it's just not. Like it's not. Like, and I have to understand that, like, especially this past year, 2023 has been a very hard year for small businesses. I've noticed, I hate to say it, maybe it's too blunt, I really don't think that many people are, like, as interested in crystals and things like that as they were, like, in prior years. And I think that's a trend. Like, it's the way that the trends bend, you know? Like, I even noticed it myself. Like, when's the last time I actually bought a crystal for myself that was like, yes, I'm excited to own this? It's been a really long time. I needed to be realistic about what I wanted to do with my life. Like, going back to school is like a really huge step and a really big thing that I need to do. And I have to really push myself to do, because I know that it will only bring good things doing that. I also kind of like came to terms with like, I have to surround myself with people that like help me feel motivated and stay motivated. And I do think that like quality over quantity is a huge like factor when it comes to people with friends, you know, or people with friends. I am a person with friends, and I have to realize that as well. But, you know, being around motivated people that like help, you know, and being with people that make you feel good about yourself and that you can see and be like, wow, like this person like is great to be around, and I'm glad to have them in my life, and I'm glad that they are somebody I can like look to and be like, even look to for advice or look to for like taking like, like, okay, you did this, like, and I want to do something like this. How can you like help, give me your perspective on it? And I think that that's really important.
And, like, noticing how you feel after spending time with people. Do you feel fulfilled, uplifted, inspired, whatever? Do you feel questionably sad? Oops. Did I? Oops. Sometimes you realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't be friends with somebody. And it's, I don't know. I think sometimes, like, in adult friendships, it's like, oh, I can just actively choose to not, like, put as much energy into this friendship, and that's fine. Like, it doesn't mean like you had to cut somebody out of your life. It can just mean I'm gonna prioritize where I'm like giving and getting like the most out of my friendships.
And I think even too, honestly, it's not even like that person did anything inherently wrong.
No.
Like, it's literally the vibe. Like, you didn't pass the vibe check. I'm sorry. There's no retest. You cannot do this again. And I think that, like, that kind of, like, goes into, like, the letting things go for a reason. Even, like, with people, jobs, places, things. Like, like you said, we're adults. Like, adult friendships, stuff like that. Like, you need to be able to, like, feel comfortable. Because you're going to go through all these phases going through all this change. Like, I'm in a totally different place right now than I thought I was going to be in the beginning of this year. And I'm happy to say that. Like, I'm happy to be like, oh, I'm glad to be here.
We're in different places than we knew we'd be a week ago.
Oh, literally.
Which I think literally, because when we were talking about preparing for this episode, I was like, it's absurd how, like, we started on antidepressants, you quit a job, I got a job, in a week. We just recorded an episode where we talked about what happened to us in the past 6 months, and now we can go back and re-record that episode with a bunch of different things to mention, too, in a week. It's absurd, and I think it really speaks to how much life changes in your 20s. Oh my God. And it's also, I think the most interesting thing about that is that for me this year, not a lot did change. Most of this year was school for me. Most of this year was honestly dominated by my mom's health stuff.
And the Barbie movie.
And literally, those were the only things that dominated my year. My mother's health in the beginning, the Barbie movie in the middle, and my mother's health at the end. And that is not her fault. That is not her fault. That is just life. And that is also me, like, needing to learn how to balance my life with... I mean, when you have family members with chronic health conditions, it's like... those are never going to go away. So it's like, okay, how am I going to evolve my life to support you in a way that's sustainable for me? Which is, something I want to do next year. But, even though not a ton happened this year, like, I did still, like, get, like, like I said, I had a pretty good summer, and, like, I feel like I still did experience it continued, like, kind of expected personal growth in terms of, like, because I am in school and because I am constantly learning and trying new things, of literally most of my time right now is spent trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing with my life after I graduate. And so it's like, my internship and like getting this job and like just generally figuring out that I want to go into public policy. Because, at the beginning of this year, I was kind of like, I don't know, planning policy. Like, I really didn't know. And so, like getting that a little bit more narrowed down and like, like I mentioned last episode, like becoming fully independent with my own needs and stuff, and like, like I was saying earlier, like prioritizing having fun. Like, I think all of those things are really important, and that as hard as this year was, like, I do think that I think that a lot of healing and growth is going to come from this time in my life, and it makes me I was gonna say, like, hopeful, optimistic, all these things about next year, but, like, I wish I could say I was feeling any of those things, but the Lexapro hasn't hit that hard yet. Sorry if that's too real.
Thinking of that, what are your hopes, dreams, goals for 2024?
I want to read a lot of books. I think literally the only tangible, actual goal I'm going to set in 2024 is my reading goal. Because I always had a reading goal, okay? Ever since I became a book girly. Actually, even before I became a true book girly, I was setting a goal of 5 books a year because I thought, if I can't do that, then what do we got going in life, you know? Which absolutely no judgment to no people who have not read a book in years, you know, it's not your fault. It's Instagram Reels. I get it.
TikTok's on your phone. I'd rather go on TikTok, man.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how many I'll set. We'll see how it goes. I would guess 40 again, probably. Wouldn't be surprised if that's what I set. I like to make informed goal decisions based on past performance. But yeah, like I said, and you know, figuring out how to still be there for my mom if and when health things continue to come up, and like doing that in a way where I'm not sacrificing as much of myself and like dropping in-person classes and stuff like that. You know, I've got 2 terms left of school in the new year, so enjoying that and like truly taking the time to like celebrate when I graduate and stuff. Getting like my first full-time not temporary job after I graduate. Continuing to prioritize having fun and taking care of myself. Continuing to unpack things in therapy. I want to spend more time outside. That was something I really enjoyed this year, was any of the intentional time I spent outside. Like, obviously, riding transit more, I got to naturally be outside more, but, like, when it's riding transit, like, okay, we're talking sidewalks and asphalt, we're not talking trees, nature. I liked the, like, nature outside time I was spending. And so I want to do more of that. I think that, like, I don't know, when I would go on hikes to Wildwood or, I don't know, just stuff like that. Like, I just want to sit next to a river and listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, like have those, like, serene moments in nature.
It's very grounding for me. And I put this on our outline. Don't know that I believe it. There's so many question marks. It's really unbelievable. But I put, go on a date, maybe. I really got to reach a level of mental stability we are not at yet. Mostly just because with every passing year of my life that I don't go on one, I'm like, oh, so I'm never gonna go on one. And that's concerning to me on an existential level.
I think like maybe, obviously, we're in very different places when it comes to things like that. But I do think that, like, there's no time like the present. Like, I do think that, like, as much as, like, there is a mental hurdle to get over, like, I think that sometimes, like, because even, like, when I was thinking about this with school, which, again, I know these are 2 totally different shoes on 2 totally different feet, but, like, you're gonna, like, never feel ready.
Fact.
Like, I literally am in a relationship with somebody that, like, I didn't even think that I was going to be downloading, like, Hinge this year, you know? Like, I think that it's just, you like, doing it and then just, like, it's exposure therapy. Like, you're exposing yourself, and you know what? If you're like, oh, this makes me feel weird, I don't like the feeling that I'm giving, you deleted it, and you're like, okay, that never happened. Like,
true.
You know, I just think that, like, even when I went on my first date with my current boyfriend, like, when I was talking to him even, like, I was like, oh, I don't know if I feel ready for this. And I'm like, well, I'm never going to feel ready for this because I don't know what I'm even, like, supposed to feel ready for. Yeah. Like, I can't, like, pack a bag. Like, I don't even know the journey I'm going on.
You're so right. And if you're listening and you want to go on a date with me, just say that you're trying to help me achieve my 2024 goals, and that's the smoothest pickup line you could
there
ever
you
have.
go.
Okay,
that's it.
Okay. The bar is low. That's my real we'll talk about this in a future episode, but the bar is so low that I'm like, if you even just so much as show slight interest in me, I'm probably going to be in love with you in an instant. And it's like, do I just like attention or do I like you? And that's really the issue.
Right. Differentiating between, like, the spark that you feel in the moment versus, like, the feelings you actually have for this person.
Yeah. Anyway, what about you? What are your 2024 aspirations?
One of them is definitely, like you said, to read more books. I read 5 books this year. Like, And my goals was 30. So I didn't even...
No.
Like,
we got to set realistic goals, Bessie.
well, because last year I read 20 books.
Oh, shit.
So I was like... Actually, last year I think I read 20 or 25. I have to check my... I was using Goodreads at the time, so I would have to look at that. So I read a lot of books last year because I'm part of a book club. Every month they would read a book. And then when I would finish that book that month, I would go ahead and read another book, like, during that time. So, like, there's a lot of months that I read 2 or 3 books. Like, January this year, I read 4 books. Like, so I was like, oh, I'm on track.
4 of your 5 books
No. There's, I, like, right out the gate, I read 5 books, stop. No, I read more books this year. Because I read 4 in January. I read 1 over the summer. There's a lot of books that I read this year. Like, I mean, I think that I read I definitely read less than 10. I'll say that. I read less than 10. My goal was 30. So, flop, flop era.
I wanted to promote while this is not Spawn, but please go add me on Storygraph at WilsonXCassie, and we can be Storygraph friends. And if you're like, what the hell is Storygraph? Again, hashtag not Spawn. It's basically the way better version of Goodreads that's not owned by Amazon.
I'm also on Storygraph, but I don't remember my username. I think it's like Sassafras777 or Sassafras Reads, I think is my
Sassafras Reads, yeah.
I do have to update that before the end of the year because I mean there's also a handful of books that I started and I didn't finish. And I have some guided
DNF on them.
I know. I'm DNFing A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm sorry, horny friends. I'm not reading that series. I'm sorry.
Too long.
It's too long. It's too long. It's not, like, giving me anything. Fourth Wing, though, I'm thoroughly enjoying. I think that book, like, it's very YA, like, but I'm still enjoying it regardless. So, yeah, definitely the reading goal. Definitely going to college and narrow down what I want to actually, like, kind of do in my life. Because, like, it makes me think about, like, that bit in SpongeBob where he's like, I want to be a football-playing king in space. Like, yeah, I want to, like, do all these things I want to do. But I have to be realistic and narrow down, like, what am I going to be able to find a job in? What am I going to major in that's, like, actually, like, a broad enough degree, which, like, I have been saying English, communications, going back and forth between the two. And what can I do for work and to be able to build the life that I want to live? Because as much as we do work in our lifetimes, like, work is not our life. Like, you know, so you're not going to love your job every second, and I know that, but, like, I want to be able to, like, work at a place that, like, is able to supplement my life. So I'm looking forward to just, like, finding more about myself and, like, my identity. I would like to vend at some bigger events this year, but I know that, like, especially when I go to school, my business is not going to be my focus anymore, and I understand that. I'm not really planning on doing a lot of events when I'm in school anyway, unless it's, like, around the holidays, like, when I'm on break. Like, that's when I'm going to be mostly doing stuff, like, when it's applicable and when I can. But even before I go to school, I'd like to get some bigger events under my belt. Just to, I guess, prove to myself that I can do it. You know, I think that that's important to me, is to be able to do one of these bigger events rather than shelling out, like, $50 and making $50 at a vendor event. Like, I'd rather shell out a little bit more money to make more money. I really want to continue, I guess it's more of, like, an internal thing, but, like, continue to stand up for myself more and have these uncomfortable, hard conversations, like, literally go through exposure therapy, because it only helps build my, like, confidence and also build my, like, social skills. Same. I sound like an animal that has been kept in a cage for my entire life, but, like, it's hard.
It is absolutely hard, and it's something that we have to keep practicing.
Yeah, because, like, you know, in line with that, it's, like, being honest with yourself and, like, staying true to yourself. And no matter how hard it is to confront your feelings, if you're really, like, I don't know, me being at my job when I was like, oh my God, I don't like being here. It's like, okay, well, I have to do something about it because I can't just sit here and not like being here. Another major goal of mine this year is to exercise more. I have been doing yoga classes, and I actually did start going to the gym more to just, like, get, like, that heart rate up, get that, like, blood flowing, stuff like that. And I'd like to get to a point where I can run on a treadmill. I know a goal I actually had for this year was to be able to run a mile, whether it's in, you know, it takes me a half hour. Like, I still wanted to be able to run a mile. I didn't do that because I didn't keep up with the exercise to be able to do something like that. And also with that, I like to gain some more strength. Like, I'd like to be able to, like, and like, I think that's more of like goes hand in hand with doing yoga. Like, there's certain poses I can't do because I'm not strong enough to do them. And I'm like, okay, well, if I do more things like weight training, then I can like gain the strength to do those poses. And it's not going to be hard for me. And I can actually feel like a deeper stretch when I do yoga rather than feeling like my body like buckle up, trying to do something. I also want to do more things alone this year. I think I rely on too many people, like too many things sometimes. Like, I'm not going to go to the grocery store if I have to go by myself. Like, fucking go to the grocery store. Like, it's not that deep. Like, people, or, like, oh, I want to go to a movie. Go to that movie by yourself then. Like, enjoy that time by yourself. Like, you don't have to always be doing shit with other people. Like, and I think that, like, goes in hand with, like, developing a stronger sense of myself and identities. Like, I think that, I am constantly trying to figure out, like, who I am, what I want out of this life. And in the song Emily, I'm Sorry by Boy Genius, when Phoebe Bridgers said, I'm 27, I don't know who I am or what I want. I'm like, girl, I'm going to be 27 in 2024. Like, I got to know what I want. Like, I got to, like, know my main drive in life. And I know I'm not going to know that in, like, a handful of months. Like, it's going to be, like, an ever-changing self thing. But I do think that, like, I need to actually, like, and that's where I think, like, I do need to journal. I want to journal more. I feel like I need to do these, like, self-care practices to help me get to this point. And also pain management, man, because I'm always, like, feeling fucking gross and sore and all the time and stuff. And I'm like, I gotta help myself, man. Like, I don't know. Until I can, like, get a bunch of, I don't know, until I could just, like, put my brain in, like, a robot or something. Like, I gotta figure out how to, like, operate this human vessel without feeling shit all the time.
True. That's very true. Yeah, we haven't. Elon Musk hasn't gone that far yet.
I mean, I do think that, like, what's so interesting for me is, like, using marijuana, because at first I had this big aversion to it because I was like, oh, I'm so, like, I'm not like that anymore. I don't want to be using weed as, like, this type of, like, to dull my feelings. I actually kind of realized, like, I think weed helps me process my feelings better because it helps me realize, like, it helps me have these, like, revelations and these thoughts because I'm like, oh, I can really look introspectively and be like, yeah, this is actually how I feel and this is how I feel right now. Like, and that's kind of where my even thoughts about, like, forcing myself to do things that make me feel uncomfortable because I want to instill and drive growth in my life. Like, yeah, like, that realization came to me when I was, like, microdosing, like, it's something that I'm like, yo, I can actually use this as, like, a healthy way to, like, conjure up some thoughts rather than using it to, like, get stoned and play video games.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I love all of those goals, and I look forward to, I so look forward to a year from now seeing where we are. Yeah,
I agree. I can't wait to, like experience this year, parallel to one another and being able to watch each other, like, succeed and, see what happens next.
I do sometimes feel like we're an old couple and, like, how, like, a lot of older people, like, they, when they're retired and stuff, they don't have a lot going on in their life. And so, like, every little thing that happens is exciting to them.
Yes.
I feel like that is us every day. Like, that's
me. Like, yeah, when you were texting me about the power lines humming. And I'm like, okay. I was like, Cassie, I had road work going on, like, a month ago, and I didn't tell you.
I'm like, if I experience something or have a thought and I'm not sharing it with you, did it happen? No.
Yes, I know. That's... like, if I had a mental breakdown and I didn't tell Cassie about it, did I even have a mental breakdown?
No. Which that really brings us so perfectly to our next segment, Pod Don't Post. Because I have 2 this week, and it looks like you have 2 as well. And one of my first ones is, if a tree, wrap your brain around this one. If a tree makes a sound, but no one sees it, did it really fall? I live in a forest, and a lot of times I'd be hearing shit fall out there. And then we go outside and check, and we don't see anything. Well, this time we finally found it, so I'm not crazy, and I, love that for myself, because I'm the only one who ever hears this shit, and I'm like, oh my god, what was that? And my parents are like, what? And I'm like, I hear a big, loud, scary noise, and yes, there was a big tree chonk outside. What's one of your pod don't posts?
So this one I thought about today, because I was watching my boyfriend play RuneScape, and I was like, there needs to be a gamer chair for the significant other to watch their significant other play video games. Because I know when he comes over in my room, I'm like, if I play a video game, he's just going to stand next to me. I need, the gamer chair for him. And I think it's, a player's partner chair is an idea. And even if it's, a stool, but, a nice, a gamer chair, a stool that matches your gamer chair.
It's giving a gamer chair, gamer love seat,
it's giving,
gamer chair for couples.
Motorcycle with the little, buggy on the on the side next to it. The sidecar, a video game, a gamer chair sidecar. Oh my, what if it had a little chair attached to it?
Oh, cute.
And when the person spins, you spin and hit your head on the desk?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because I was like, I want to sit and watch you play the game, from the point of, when I was younger and, our computer chair would have, we would have the couch behind the computer chair, so you would sit on the arm of the couch while you watch your brother play a game, or you take turns and stuff. And I'm like, well, I need that now. I'm about to just bring one of my folding chairs from my vendor events and put it in your room so I can sit here and watch you play video games. Wow. I guess I could do that, but I think that there's a missed market here. I think that
for sure.
This could be a thing.
Absolutely.
What's your other pod don't post?
All right. This one does have a visual element in that in the middle of it is a greater than sign, so bear with me. Putting fruit salad in the Beyblade bowl is greater than Muddy Buddies in the puke bowl.
See, I know the Muddy Buddies in the puke bowl because that was a big controversial thing on Twitter this year where somebody was like, oh yeah, we used the bowl that we used to puke in to make cake wicks. It's mixed cake batter with, which I think that's foul because our puke bowl is kept in the closet of the bathroom. So why would I dug in there for baking supplies? But I'm interested in the Beyblade bowl. I'm going to have to look up a picture of this.
Oh, so it's just a bowl.
But is it you used to play Beyblades in it when you were younger?
Yeah, but it's just a big bowl. See,
I'm picturing the Beyblades arena.
We did also have those, but before we had the arenas, we just had a big bowl. And, okay, get this. Yesterday, we've had this bowl my entire life. It wasn't until yesterday that I realized, because there's a logo on the side, and I thought it was just a logo for the brand of bowl because it says Super Bowl. It's talking about football. Super Bowl as in the football game.
Right.
I thought it was Super Bowl. It's a fucking huge bowl. So that was humbling. And then my mom and I were trying to figure out what XXVII meant for a year. That wasn't a year. That was the 28th Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's Super Bowl 5 or Super Bowl 28, stuff that's the number after.
So
that's amazing.
That whole thing was humbling. Yes, representation for white people who cook in their puke bowls. Yeah, you just put that thing through the dishwasher. I don't know what to tell you.
Wait, do you bake in the puke bowl?
Yeah. Usually it's a popcorn bowl, though. The puke bowl and popcorn bowl are the same bowl.
I believe that yes, if you clean the bowl, it kills bacteria. But I just think that, I guess because ours is a popcorn bowl that my ex-boyfriend's aunt gave me the first year that we were dating. So my puke bowl is a bowl that has a bear on it holding a bucket of popcorn. So if he listens, it's his fault. But for my ex-boyfriend's aunt.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. But our bowl prior to that was, I don't remember the bowl prior to that, but it was never one we cooked in because my mom always we prepped keep that stuff in, like, glass bowls, so I'm not going to throw up in a glass bowl.
No, I just was when my mom said, because we were making a double batch of pudding fruit salad for Christmas, and when she goes, yeah, we'll put it in the Beyblade bowl, I go, the what? The what? I never realized that that's what we used to use, but that is. What's your other one?
My other one is one that I texted you about during the week, that, like, the depressive episode to IG scrolling pipeline is very intense. Because, like, the other morning when I was going through the gauntlet of feeling depressed, I was like, you know what hits right now? You know, it's like an Instagram reel is what I imagine is like taking a long drag of, like, a cigarette. It's like it's like soothing. Yeah. Like, it's like that self-soothing. Like, I was like, oh, this, like, I scrolled, like, for so long, and I was like how you felt where you're like, I gotta get out of bed. I gotta get off my phone. Like, I gotta get ready, like, for the day. I cannot lay in bed on Instagram Reels for an hour. Because I did that, and I was like, holy shit, this is rough.
Just an hour? Sorry.
That's a rookie time, dude. An hour?
It was... When I deleted Instagram this week, I was like, I felt disgust. I was like, get out. I was like, take this. Get it.
Like, get out. It's like you have, like, a rat in your room, and you gotta take the broom to be like, get.
Yeah.
Like, and then it has me looking at my emails for, like, dopamine. Like, what the fuck am I looking for?
The weather app?
It's so
clawing. Bad. LinkedIn, I will take it where I can get it.
Like, I would go on, like, my fucking bank app and look
Pinterest.
At, like... and, like, look at my credit card transactions.
Yeah.
Just scroll on something.
Yes!
Like,
the withdrawals are bad.
Oh my god, it's so goofy. It's so silly. I have games on my phone. Play a game.
Same.
Solitaire.
They're not hitting as hard.
No, I'm like, I need to scroll on Venmo transactions. I need to look at who my friends Venmo'd recently. Like, you said it where you said dopamine slot machine. I was like, dude, that's a great name for a band. Like, that's like a name that rolls off the tongue. I have it in
my song lyrics notes app. Yeah,
it's a good it like rolls off the tongue nice. Dopamine slot machine.
In fact, let me see. I don't think I have a full song with it by any means. No, I don't want to collaborate with Mariah on this note.
It's almost close to like a haiku. I think that's why it like rolls off the tongue really nicely.
Okay, sorry. I thought I had it written down.
That's all right.
I'm also kind of wondering if the search function's not doing its job. It says no results, but I'm like certain I've written that down, so that's weird. Okay, well, disregard all of that.
Well, that's a wrap on this week's episode. Be sure to follow the Cassie and Mariah Show wherever you listen to podcasts, at TCMS Pod on Instagram, and look out for new episodes every Wednesday.
Bye!